While there are great maps in the 20-year history of the Battlefield franchise, there are also others that are dramatically imbalanced, poorly laid out, or simply disasters of design. This is the story of the worst maps of Battlefield. After many months of Battlefield map analysis, it is clear to me that large vehicle maps are really hard to do well. Even with the best of designs, significant imbalances or vehicle overloads can cause player dissatisfaction. Then there's Altai range, and good grief. This large Battlefield 4 map continues the tradition of having an annoying mountain range map, and it makes Battlefield 3's Albor's Mountains look like a gem. Why, you might ask? Because whereas Albor's actually has some okay flags for infantry play, and more importantly, it had some checks on vehicle power, Altai is designed exclusively for vehicle play, and with that, man does it do an awful job. Vehicles rule Altai. The fact of the matter is that Altai range is a multi-pronged failure stemming from its vast circular flag layout with minimal cover and high vehicle numbers with cross-map kill capability thanks in part to thermal optics and 3D spotting. There are 7 flags to Altai range, 1 in the center at the elevated communications array, and 6 others of various degrees of distance and elevation surrounding the main mountain. Extra vehicles which spawn at every single flag create significant balance problems. Each main base begins with 2 stealth jets, 1 mobile AA, 3 IFVs, and 1 attack helicopter, which is already pretty substantial. Deploying from the US side leads to a split in the road. Going east and along the mountain will take you to the A flag, a hillside village with scattered houses and rock formations along its eastern slope. The height grants a huge vantage point for infantry and vehicles to launch rockets from, with or without the use of SOFLAM equipment. In a move of absolute lunacy, another mobile AA will spawn here for the controlling team. Leaving the US main along the left road will follow a descending slope down to the B flag nestled by the river. A village consisting of yurts occupies this flag zone. While another IFE will spawn on the flag for the controlling team, infantry which deploy here tend to get spawn camped, as the yurts can be completely destroyed and IFEs make short work of defending players. Additionally, as it sits in the low valley, infantry spawning here just to walk to another flag face a perilous journey in the open, and are completely vulnerable to enemy snipers and IFVs from across the map. Moving onward down the hill from the A flag, a US armor convoy frequently barrels into the C flag, the river crossing. A flag of minimal structures, players spawn around the flag and must rush back to it under the cover of a few rocks. Similar to the B flag, it is a killing field for infantry who find themselves isolated and alone on the low terrain with an uphill climb into IFE fire in both directions, on top of likely sniper fire from the mountain. Vehicles which find themselves here to attack the flag are often bombarded by enemy missiles from the same high ground positions. The sole reason to fight for this flag is the single tank which spawns for the controlling team, the lone tank on the map. Uphill from the B flag and around a small bend is the E flag. This point provides the controlling team a second attack helicopter. This is a wild oddity, given that the flag on the opposite end provides a tank. It might provide a reason for the overkill amount of mobile AAs here as well, but in practice, no Battlefield map should provide more than 1 attack helicopter. The sheer power that 2 even moderately coordinated helicopters can have is enough to carry around, and Battlefield 4 is full of crack pilots who can use TV missiles and tows to their fullest potential. Thankfully, because of the high priority most players have for the attack helicopter, the E flag changes hands very frequently, a minor solace. Up a steep climb from the E flag, players can reach the radar station of the D flag. This hill between them is the shortest route to the D point and one of the most populated during a round. In fact, this boulder-covered hillside actually provides the most cover on the map, though the splash damage of IFV shells and helicopters negate this protection most times. The primary infantry flag of Altai range, it is fairly isolated, but provides excellent line of sight over the majority of the map. Like the radar dome from some other BF3 and BF4 maps, it provides significant verticality, a place to get on top of using spawn beacons, and a defensive fortification to hold up. Several bunkers, research buildings, and sandbags provide cover in and around the flag. Additionally, this point provides a bomber trailer, which allows a player to access control of a B-1 strike every 90 seconds, bringing considerable anti-ground destruction. The only reason the flag is constantly being attacked is because of its central location, and enemies can sneak in from any direction. This includes from the mountaintop behind the dish. The central mountain of Altai dominates the landscape, and aside from providing limited cover to the China side's attack helicopter, infantry tend to goat climb their way up the sides throughout the round. Some snipe, some place spawn beacons and drop onto the radar dome, and others piss off the whole enemy team by placing SOFLAMs in nigh unkillable places. Behind the mountain, the final two flags of F and G can be reached after deploying from the China main base. Taking a right will send you to the G flag, a village of decent size with numerous structures providing excellent cover for infantry spawn points, as opposed to the rest of the map. It also provides another mobile AA, bringing the total on the map to 4. The other direction will land you at the F flag, a set of ruins. Literally, just some barren ruins. While a few large boulders and rocks line the ridge along the hill. While on flag, there is no cover except for the shattered walls remaining, so infantry are always prone nearby and vehicles are always exposed. An IFE spawns for the controlling team, which brings the total amount on the map to 8. The flag's position and layout is brutal. It is downhill and in range of the D flag to be hit from rockets aplenty, while the high ground it sits on allows IFVs to dominate the low ground valley all the way from the C flag to the A point. The kicker of Altai is the 4 mobile AA on the map in such a restricted space. Mobile AA remains one of the strongest vehicles in Battlefield 4. Passive and active missiles, Zunis, APS, and a 30mm cannon upgrade which shreds infantry. It is aptly referred to as the anti-anything by BF4 players. Each team gets one of these monstrosities in their main and another one spawn on each of their gimme flags of A and G. And while each team is usually in possession of 2 mobile AAs, it is not impossible for one team to capture the enemy team's A or G flag and have 3 active mobile AA simultaneously. Helicopters, which only have the mountain to hide behind, struggle to stay aloft from all the constant harassment, but it makes flying jets the worst experience ever. Lastly, the presence of all these mobile AA vehicles completely negate the effect of the bomber trailer, as the B-1 can be shot down almost immediately every time. These also make each team's transport helicopters a suicidal venture. Each team does get 2 stealth jets, and in Battlefield 4 these aircraft are neutered compared to their Battlefield 3 fighter jet counterparts. The best thing they can do is dogfight and poke at enemy ground vehicles with their laser-guided missiles. On Altai, each of these tasks brings them perilously close to the main battle, especially attacking enemy vehicles, and they get ripped to shreds by the mobile AA to such an extent that it is pointless to fly here. If there is one positive game experience on the map, it is using the planes, attack, and transport helicopters as target practice for AAs, tanks, and LAVs. In a way, Altai Range is the complete opposite of Albor's Mountains. Whereas Albor's had overpowered skyboxing helicopters, Altai Range has less powerful helicopters, though they have nowhere to hide. Albor's had a handful of good flags and connecting terrain beneficial for infantry. Altai has vast, empty expanses players must travel with minimal cover. Albor's had constricting pathways for tanks which neutered their effectiveness. Altai has so much open space that ground vehicles can hammer infantry anywhere from a mile away with the power of thermal optics and 3D spotting. Alborz had super strong jets and a high skybox for dogfighting. Altai Range is without a doubt the worst map in Battlefield 4 for jets, period. Alborz was a scenic spectacle of natural beauty and wintry detail. Altai is a bland, brown mess devoid of texture, color, or decent terrain decoration. But what truly makes Altai fundamentally bad is that no matter what you are doing, a confluence of frustrating factors ensures that you will not survive for long. First, it is a BF4 vehicle map, and in that it has a plentiful amount of vehicles, it is successful. However, the strength of these vehicles and their counters must be spaced properly, and here they are not. Jets and all helicopters get obliterated by the obscene amount of mobile AA on the map on top of stingers and other lock-ons. Any and all ground vehicles destroy each other through sheer attrition or are blasted by helicopters. They in turn delete any infantry they find on the map in any of the poor spawn locations around the flags or adventuring through the wastelands of the valleys. And at points between rolling deaths, infantry manage to spam the hell out of MBT laws and javelins across the map to the constant annoyance of armor players. Second, there is the issues of its scale versus what it wants to accomplish. The map may be large, but the playable area is deceptively small. The circular track around the mountain forces players and vehicles together, creating small blobs of players and vehicles. Fights center around battles between 2 or 3 flags at a time simply because players must attack them to advance, and usually up vastly uneven terrain. Third, Battlefield 4's game mechanics compound this frustrating gameplay. 3D spotting across the map means infantry players are constantly spotted and can be splashed down at any insane range by IFVs and attack helicopters. SOFLAMs and PLDs, in addition to easy-to-use, high-damage rockets, bring near-permanent lock-on tones across the map. The map's varying degrees of elevation make each of these incredibly potent. Fourth, having immensely limited cover across the map exacerbates all previous points. The environment is so empty that it could have been one of 2042's launch maps. This makes running to any other flag risky at best, but it also eliminates nearly all cover for ground and air vehicles as well. The boulders and rocks which litter the terrain provide some cover, but nearly all vehicles will catch a glimpse of players using the thermal optics. This also works against the majority of the light transports and bikes on the map, which can be targeted with ease. Fifth and finally, the propensity for one team to dominate due to the amount of flag spawn vehicles can be overwhelming. One team could amass 2 attack helicopters, 2 jets, 5 IFVs, 3 mobile AAs, 1 tank, and a routine bomber call-in. And in the event of a near full capture, there is no way to break such a contain. Altai Range is a miserable map experience for nearly everyone. It ultimately boils down to too many strong vehicles and too weak a flag structure that a vehicle grind takes place, in a Battlefield game with exceptionally brutal game mechanics. It is a kill or be killed anti-tank fest, a rocket beeping simulator extravaganza. And yet there is still time for Battlefield 3's blazing supernova of a sun to make a quick return and blind players at certain angles. If Altai Range was designed to be a vehicle-heavy map, it succeeded by being a bad experience that most players wish to avoid. This is the reason why Altai Range is widely despised and rarely voted for. And it makes perfect sense why the center of the map resembles the poop emoji.